What's going on YouTube? Steve E here with another video. Hope everybody's doing well out there, and as always, appreciate you guys coming into the Man Cave Arcade and hanging out with me for a little while. Now in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Basic Fun arcade cabinets that showed up in an article from a magazine called Toy Book, where they actually featured some images of these cabinets that will be coming out from Basic Fun in the fall. Now, they've talked about some titles that they wanted to come out with in some prior interviews, but this was the first time we actually got to see some images of some of these cabinets they talked about. So we're going to take a look at some images right now. Now, the first thing that you can see is a WWE WrestleFest. Now, this was one of the titles they had mentioned in an interview, if I'm not mistaken. So it's pretty cool to actually see it come to fruition. And the biggest thing to me that I noticed right off the bat was looking at the artwork on the side, you can see they actually got all the licensing, at least on this prototype, for all the wrestlers that are involved in the game. That is fantastic. This is something that Arcade1Up was not able to do. So obviously the fact that Basic Fun was able to get it, that is fantastic. Now, WWE is under different management now, so maybe it's made it a little bit easier, but either way, it's still very impressive. Now, obviously, they had to change the WWF to WWE. As for legal purposes, that is what the company is called now, so they had to change that within the game. But other than that, it looks like we're getting WWF WrestleFest, just without the F and replaced with the E. That is amazing. I'm very excited for this cabinet. Now, it looks like there's two different styles of this cabinet. There's the one that you can see in this article here, which is the 4-player cabinet, which is the version of WrestleFest that I know. I know they did do a 2-player version as well, and it looks like Basic Fun is also going to be doing a 2-player version as well. It looks like pretty much there's going to be 3 different SKUs of what you can get within, you know, these certain cabinets that they're coming out with. It looks like there's going to be their version of countercades. There's going to be their version of deluxe. And then there's going to be kind of a premium version. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be an XL, but it's going to be a version that offers a little bit more. And in this case, that's what the 4-player cabinet is. It's kind of their more premium brand. You could also see it has a coin door, where when it comes to the deluxe version, there's no coin door, and it's down to a 2-player cabinet, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I feel like you're still getting a pretty good offer either way. Another thing that I've noticed is either way, you're going to have some type of branding of the game on the kick plate. Not a big fan of that, but, you know, I get they have to somewhat differentiate themselves from Arcade1Up or do something a little bit different. Maybe it's even something that was kind of asked from some of the licensees. They want to see a little more branding of, you know, either the game or type of games that they're going to be coming out with, because you can see as we continue looking at some of the images, they're also coming out with a Centipede cabinet. And as you can see with the Centipede cabinet, they also have the Atari logo on the kick plate. So it just seems like something that they're kind of doing to kind of differentiate themselves as far as a brand compared to, again, Arcade1Up, because that's pretty much like the closest these cabinets are as a comparison. You know, they really do look similar to Arcade1Up, but I mean, that's to be expected, because number one, they're trying to make it look like the arcade cabinet, and Arcade1Up was really starting to make their cabinets look more authentic to the original cabinets. And on top of that, of course, you know, Arcade1Up at some point did have some branding on their kick plates. So for a company to kind of be doing that, it's always going to be kind of compared to Arcade1Up, where, you know, obviously in this case, it's not like a pile of game titles on the kick plate, but it's still, you know, some type of branding or some type of name. But I mean, even At Games did that with their Legends Ultimate, right? So I can't say I'm a fan of that. I kind of wish it was just a coin door on all these cabinets, whether it was a deluxe or their premium version. But either way, you know, it is what it is. It's a very small, minute thing that, I consider a negative. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Another thing that I have to kind of mention though is I did notice the artwork is not stretched throughout the whole side panel. Um, I don't necessarily want to say that's a negative because to keep it to scale is not necessarily a bad thing. I just think maybe placement could improve, at least on the centipede. It would be kind of nice if maybe like the actual centipede was, higher on the cabinet and then maybe the Atari logo was, kind of beneath that. Where with WrestleFest, it does look like they put it in the best possible spot. Because, to kind of stretch out the image, sometimes you do end up cutting things or it just kind of looks a little wonky. So I get what they're doing here. So again, I'm not considering that a negative. I'm just saying it's something that I noticed, and maybe with certain cabinets, just better placement might be the better option when it comes to just making it look a little more fuller on the side panel. Now, they did mention in the article that some cabinets might just have one game, where other cabinets might have a pile of games. I don't really know how I feel about that yet. I guess I need to see just the certain situation where, a certain cabinet might have one game. Maybe it is like, say it's a particular cabinet that has very specific controls. Maybe that would be better suited to just be that one game so they could really make the cabinet the most authentic as possible. But when it's a cabinet like, for example, WrestleFest, with, the joysticks and buttons, I feel like a cabinet like that probably could have, WWE superstars on there. Maybe they could kind of fill it with a couple other games. Obviously, the centipede, you could tell from the screen, since it's not a vertical screen, it looks like it's horizontal. There's probably a bunch of Atari games on there, hence the Atari logo. So I feel like for the most part, we are going to be getting more cabinets with a good amount of games. But I do think when they mentioned that there might be cabinets with just one game on it, I really feel like it's going to be because of a particular control scheme, and I'm okay with that as well. Another thing that they mentioned is the fact that as of right now, there's going to be no Wi-Fi when it comes to their cabinets. I'm okay with that as well. I understand when it comes to certain fighting games, that might be a little bit of a negative, especially since people kind of got used to the arcade went up model where, they were able to kind of compete with each other through Wi-Fi. But they did say that they're working towards that in the future. So I think when it comes to games like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat or Marvel vs. Capcom, because I'm sure they're going to kind of go down that road as well. That's probably when the Wi-Fi will be kind of a thing when it comes to basic fun. Where right now, with what they're coming out with, I don't feel like that's going to be that much of an issue. Maybe with WrestleFest, but I think as of right now, with what they're showing, it's not going to be too much of an issue with their first line of cabinets. But down the road, knowing that Wi-Fi will probably be a thing for them, I'm sure that's when we're going to start getting more, again, fighting games. Maybe we'll start getting more beat 'em ups. I know a cabinet that they did mention they were going to be working on is the Turtles. That one has me very excited because I've always kind of regretted selling my original Turtle cabinet. I would love to bring the Turtles back into the Man Cave arcade, and for it to have Wi-Fi would be a plus. So I can play with my friends online, but that's also not a make or break for me. It's one of those things where I can kind of take it or leave it. I'm just saying it would be a plus if that was available. But when it comes to games like I mentioned before, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, I can see how that would be a negative if they weren't able to get the Wi-Fi by that point. But there's already a model out there of how it can be done. So I do think that is something that will not be an issue for them in their next line of cabinets. So all in all, what I'm seeing with this company, with these renders, is a lot of positive. And I think this is something that is really going to kind of reignite the home arcade market when it comes to a company providing these cabinets that you can buy through retailers. They're a bit smaller than a regular arcade cabinet, so they're not as heavy. This really does seem like the company that's taken that baton from Arcade 1-Up and saying, we got it from here. And to me, that's exciting because Arcade 1-Up, unfortunately, has kind of fallen on hard times. So to see a company kind of swoop in and pretty much do what Arcade 1-Up was doing, but now kind of bringing some new titles, because we haven't seen some new titles in a while, like a WWE WrestleFest. That's very exciting and something that has me excited for the future when it comes to home arcade. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really look forward to seeing what Basic Fun does in the future. So take care. I'll see you guys on the next one.